Hey, I'm Daniel with the Nostril, and today I want to talk to you about a scent that has garnered a fair amount of hype in the fragrance community, and I think rightly so. I'm talking about from the house of Nishane, Hachivat. Hachivat is, of course, readily acknowledged to be inspired by Creed's Aventus, but I want to talk to you today about the ways in which it is similar and the ways in which it's different. What is it doing that I think is better than Aventus, and what is it doing that I think that it isn't quite matching up to the supposed king of niche fragrances? So if you want to hear about Nishane's Hachivat, you want to hear about the note breakdown, the situations where I think it's going to be appropriate to wear it, and my overall impressions, stay tuned. We're going to talk about it today. Nishane's Hachivat, without a doubt, the most well-known fragrance from this house, and the one that has garnered massive amounts of hype. I have a 50 milliliter bottle right here. I bought the full presentation. I have it in my closet over there. I didn't get it out. I don't know. If you guys really want to see the presentation, the box of perfumes, I can start showing you, but it's really not that interesting to me. I keep all the boxes of my fragrances for storage and transportation purposes, and also just if I end up selling them, they're worth more if I keep the cardboard box or the presentation. It is what it is. I don't know. The obsession with full presentation doesn't really speak to me very much, but hey, if I can get an extra $20 because I keep the box of the fragrance and I want to sell it, I'll do it. So Nishane's Hachivat is absolutely inspired by Creed's Aventus. There's just no question that that's a thing, and let's take a moment and give a shout out to Aventus. I have a 2019 bottle of Aventus right here. It's a 19U01 is the batch code if there are any true Creed batch code aficionados watching the video. There's a lot of maybe animosity towards Aventus in the fragrance community now, just because it got so huge. It is without a doubt the most famous niche fragrance ever made, and the most important niche fragrance ever made, I suppose. Is it the best niche fragrance ever made? I'm not going to weigh in on that today, but certainly what it did was introduce a way of doing a modern chypre. And just so we're clear, you can check it out on Fragrantica if you don't believe me. Creed Aventus is a chypre fragrance. It absolutely is. It's got that oak moss, it's got bergamot, that kind of citrusy accord going on. It doesn't smell much like a traditional chypre for sure, but it is a chypre. And the DNA, the scent profile of Aventus was and continues to be novel and new. Creed Aventus did something different. That smoky pineapple blackcurrant accord with hints of vanilla and leather underneath, that is a new DNA for scent profiles. It just please, if you can think of a fragrance that's doing something basically like Aventus that came out before Aventus, let me know. I don't think there is one, but I could be wrong. Tell me if you think of one, because I think this introduced something novel and different and utterly unique into the fragrance landscape. And for all the denigration that this scent receives now because it's gotten so popular, I'm not sure it deserves it. Aventus did something good. But let's get on to talking about what I meant to talk about today, which is Hachivat by Nishane. There is some controversy about this scent, not only because it is definitely inspired by Aventus, but because it has a very different vibe, especially in the dry down to Aventus. A lot of people, I think, buy it and are expecting it to smell basically like Aventus. And then are disappointed because it really amps up the oak moss and the patchouli accords that come out as the fragrance dries down. And it just feels overall more mature and slightly more challenging than Aventus. So I think people buy it and go, what did I buy? This is not fitting the vibe that I wanted. And ultimately that's because Aventus is a fairly youthful fragrance for nights out, going to the club, going to the bar. And I'm not sure that's what Hachivat is, to be perfectly honest with you. This is a more mature scent, and honestly, I think it suits me better than Aventus does. I think that Aventus sometimes, don't get me wrong, I wear Aventus. You can see I've decanted a little bit of this, but this is mainly just from my wearing, that much in the bottle right there. So I wear it, and I like it. But occasionally I'll be wearing it and I'll kind of feel, I'm not sure this is really me. I think this is maybe a little too young for me now. Don't tell Creed, because I think they envision Aventus being for everyone, especially the people with lots of money. But Hachivat has a much more, the greenness here is coming from patchouli and oak moss and it's aromatic in a way that Aventus is not. It still has that kind of pineapple bergamot accord that opens it up. Absolutely. It's got that kind of slight fruitiness to it. It definitely has leather. It definitely has vanilla, and a little bit more vanilla than Aventus has. It's got, if you've smelled many other fragrances from Nishane, you'll know that they're well known for their vanilla accord that's really deep and both sweet but not sickly at the same time. I'm thinking of Nishane's Ani or Zen, both of which just are beautiful vanilla centric scent. Zen has a fruity thing going on, but Ani really does. It just focuses on that vanilla note. And it's here. It's not the star of the show by any means. It's very well blended into the rest of the notes, but there's a vanilla thing going on here that kind of accentuates, I think, the oak moss and the patchouli. Ultimately, I think that's actually what I like most about Hachivat, is that it takes that Aventus DNA and kind of amps up the age range of people who are going to be able to pull it off properly. Let's put it that way. I don't imagine someone who's in their mid-40s wearing Aventus and feeling like it suits their vibe. Don't get me wrong, if you are 55 or 45 and wear Aventus, all the power to you. Wear what you want. I just think this suits my vibe as a 33-year-old better. It also has just amazing performance. It's compared to Aventus, which is, it's got decent performance. Don't believe the people who moan about modern batches of Aventus having terrible performance. It's good. It's not going to blow anyone away in terms of its performance, its longevity, its sillage. But Creed Aventus still performs relatively well. But Hachivat performs amazingly. I can spray myself 2 sprays right here and here at the beginning of the day, and I'll still be smelling it pretty strongly when I get home from work. Or if I spray it at the beginning of the night, I'll smell it in the morning when I wake up. It's that good. And really, this is a 2-spray only fragrance. You don't want to go heavier than that. You're going to choke people out, especially if you are wearing it in warmer weather. There's an added versatility, I think, to Hachivat that Aventus doesn't have. I think people think of Aventus as a pretty versatile fragrance. They're not wrong. It is a versatile fragrance. This is more office appropriate somehow. I think it's the patchouli oak moss accord that's coming here. I think and this is heavier on patchouli than it is on oak moss. I think because oak moss is an IFRA regulated ingredient, and patchouli is absolutely not. You can use buckets of patchouli and have no problem with IFRA. It just makes the fragrance feel a little bit more dignified, a little bit more, I've used the word mature a few times, and it's not quite what I mean. So there's something smoother and something more on the surface pleasant about Hachivat. It amps down that smoky vibe that most batches of Aventus, even the fruitier ones, have. Yeah, the fruitiness here is nice, but the smokiness can turn this into a bit more of a night out centric fragrance. And I think that sometimes office wear with this can be a little bit off-putting. I think it can smell a little bit out of place sometimes. But I think the versatility of Hachivat is better because it has that more well-rounded dry down without the kind of heavy smoky note that Aventus is known for. I really like Hachivat. I think this is one of my most often reached for offerings from Nishane. I think I have 6 or 7 bottles, and they're all great. Nishane is a fantastic house, but this is just, it's an easy reach. It's pleasant. I find it comforting, to be perfectly honest. That kind of smooth dry down that's slightly woodier and slightly more aromatic than Aventus really does work well for me. And there's something about the bottle that I really like too. I think I like the Aventus bottle because it has such cachet. It's like, oh, it's Aventus. It's so nice. But this just, the feeling, the feeling of the kind of sprayed glass is really nice. And the caps, the Nishane caps are heavy. Like, I wouldn't want to drop this on my foot. It would hurt. There's this whole story of the inspiration behind Hachivat and that Nishane puts out, that comes with a little postcard with the story in the box. I don't know if I buy it. It clearly, Jorge Lee definitely was working off of the DNA that was introduced by Aventus into the fragrance world when he created this scent. But that said, in many ways, I think Hachivat does the scent profile a little bit better than Aventus, at least for my tastes. And I think it's probably going to have a more prevalent role in my collection because of that. I wear Aventus a lot, as I said. It's really nice, it's versatile, it's pleasant. But the things that I like about Aventus, I think Hachivat does better. Now, that's my personal opinion, and of course, people are pretty vocal about their likes, loves, or dislikes of Aventus. And so feel free to comment if you disagree with me. I'm sure that people will. But I think this is amazing. It is a fantastic offering. I reach for it often, and it never disappoints me. Amazing performance. A wonderful smooth dry down, that patchouli oak moss accord. And I think it's more patchouli that's kind of aiming to smell like oak moss, to be honest, but it's really nice. And suits where I am in my life, my vibe, my personality, my kind of the age that I am and the age that I express really, really well. So if you are looking for, if you're past your mid-20s and love Aventus, but are kind of feeling like maybe it's left you behind a little bit in terms of the vibe that it gives off, consider Hachivat. I think it'll work well for you. Sample it first because it's not cheap. I think that 50 milliliters from discounters will run you probably $150 to $200. The 100 milliliter bottle certainly will be more. So this is not going to be a blind buy unless you're have lots of extra cash to throw around. Sample it first, but I think you will be pleasantly surprised by it. It does everything that Aventus does, but adds a maturity and a sophistication that I think the original lacks. If you have any more questions about the scent that I have not answered in my review, please feel free to comment below. I'm happy to come back and answer a few of your questions. This is available from most online discounters. I think I've seen it on FragranceNet, certainly on Fragrance Buy fairly frequently, fragrancebuy.ca. And as always, there will be a written version of this review available on thenostril.com coming soon. So if you want to read more about the scent in a bit more detail and get some of my thoughts written down as opposed to me talking at you, then please visit the site, thenostril.com. And I hope that if you do sample or purchase Hachivat by Nishane, that you enjoy it as much as I do. Thanks a lot. We'll see you soon.